All right, today we're working on some inlays for the overwrap on this guide foot. And a friend had asked me how to do these, so we're gonna do a quick video. There's gonna be two ways we're gonna lay this thread under here. One's gonna be an overlay where we just lay the thread over like this, and then another way is going to be tucking it back under and doing it that way. Both ways work really well. It doesn't matter. Just be real careful when you have a layer of unfinished thread underneath that you don't tug real hard and bury your overlay into the underlay. Just be real light on the thread carriage with the tension. As far as trimming these, you can trim them before or after. I like to wait because sometimes they'll end up pulling through on accident and you'll have to restart your wrap or cut it off. So we're gonna get going. This is a set of 9 rods I'm doing for a friend, and to keep the guide wrap consistent on this size 10 guide foot, we're starting about 10 millimeters from the start of the under wrap so that they all look identical. So here's our overwrap method for the inlay, and this is gonna be a 2 wrap. We're gonna put a layer of black in between the 2 wraps to get a little delineation in the colors so it pops a little bit. And as you can see, we'll pull this back up here to the midpoint. What that does is it cleans up the underside, and it allows you to have a tuck-in point that doesn't walk to the front of your design. It'll stay towards the bottom there. We're gonna burnish very, very gently to get this to line up back to that first thread we were laying off of. And that's it. We're gonna start that red. We're gonna do the red slightly different. We laid the gold over. The red's gonna go underneath. So we'll pull this red under, bump this forward just a little bit. Just keep making sure that you lay to the front side of this and you don't lay back over yourself, otherwise you gotta adjust it when you burnish and it can get a little tricky sometimes. Snug this back up. And we snug that black thread up again to keep the crossover points on the bottom so they don't walk to the front of our art wrap. On the larger diameter blanks or down towards the bigger guides, it's not a big deal, but we're getting down to the thinner section of this particular blank. So this one we'll do like the other one, we'll just lay it over. Give this a little turn just to give it an area to snug to. Really gently burnishing it. Not a lot of tension on my thread tensioner, just keeping it kind of loose. And as we get to the end here, I'll trim these to make them easier to work with. I'll usually give it a wrap or 2 before I put my my tie-in on there. Now, one thing you want to be cognizant of when you put your under wrap in or your tie off, that you don't pull the other thread back through. So I have a piece of Power Pro that I'm using. I'm gonna insert the piece of Power Pro just on the other side of these wraps here. Just be real gentle about it. And what you don't want to do is once you trim these, you don't want to end up pulling them back up through. So just be real careful that you try to put it away from them or pull in a different direction than they end up resting. All right, we have a couple wraps of tension to hold them in place now. So we can trim these off with our razor blade or whatever you use. I try to go one at a time. I've found they end up being a little bit cleaner that way. That one even ended up a little stringy, but sometimes when you trim too many at a time, they'll end up kind of getting really frayed and popping through your design. All right, so here's our tie off. Same thing with these, I'll do them one at a time. I know you can cut them off in a bunch and some people do with no problem, but I found that sometimes it does make a little mess. So we'll burnish that out as best we can. And then we'll burnish this design until we get it nice where we want it. No gaps in the red or the gold. And that'll be it. Hope that helps. Take care.